Greetings and welcome, gentles and ladiesmen, to our pilot episode of Unversed Cast. I'm ExoParadigmGamer.
I'm Haedox from the Haedox network.
And he is... come on, guys.
I am Ryan from TheRyanSucksAtVideoGames. Hello, everyone.
And we have a fourth guest here.
I'm KingK. I make internet videos.
We all make internet videos. So, today we have a very special topic just because, I don't know, we've just been kind of dying to get something out there to start working together because I don't know about how you guys feel, but I'm very excited to be working with these very talented content creators right now.
Oh,
you sound like the guy at the beauty pageants, like with the kids. It's like, I'm very happy to work with these fine young children.
And so we decided that, like one of the things that we all have in common is Sonic. We all like Sonic to some extent or degree. And, it's kind of a very interesting time to be a Sonic fan right now because we've got sort of two things coming up. We've got, well, I guess three things if you count Fire and Ice, but who cares about that? I was just about to say that, yeah. But more importantly, what we want to talk about is the new upcoming 2018 Sonic movie. And just what we would, and then for a second topic, what we would like to see in the 25th anniversary game that's coming around the corner. So, so let's sort of transition into the movie discussion. Anyone want to go first? Maybe just tell us what we know about this film so far.
Well, why don't we start with our impressions? Like, what do we think about the idea of there being a live-action CG hybrid Sonic the Hedgehog movie, which, according from what I've read on the internet, it's trying to go for a PG-13 rating, and it's going to be, I believe it's published by, it's going to be published or distributed by Sony. And I know that a lot of people were freaking out about that because they're saying they were making comparisons with the Alvin and the Chipmunk movies and the Smurfs movie. But the person who's writing the movie said that if that's what we're expecting, if we're expecting another Smurfs or if we're expecting another Alvin and the Chipmunks, that we're going to be pleasantly surprised.
Well, does he mean from a plot standpoint or like?
Well, you know how like Alvin and the Chipmunks and the Smurfs are cartoon characters. Sonic the Hedgehog is a cartoon-ish character that don't really belong in the real world, and that's kind of like what those movies do. So, like, my guess, well, I actually have no idea what to take from it because it's honest. We don't have a lot of information about this,
right?
So it's hard to be excited. But when I heard that, that the writer said that we should be pleasantly surprised, that kind of took a little bit off my shoulders because I think a lot of people were expecting this to be another Smurfs or another Alvin and the Chipmunks. Or like that one live-action Sonic fan movie that was like 18 minutes long that was very good.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to bring up another comparison. You know who else said what would be great? And let's go back to 1940, the 40s, Okay. It's when our great leader Adolf Hitler once said, "We're going to make Germany great again."
I just knew you were gonna bridge that gap.
When you brought up 1940, I'm like, I know exactly where he's going with this.
Are you fellows familiar with the concept of Godwin's law?
Yeah.
Essentially, Godwin's law.
I've watched enough Game Mavericks to know that exists.
Essentially, what Godwin's law is, it was basically invented by this professor, I guess, who studies anti-Semitism and internet behavior. Essentially, Godwin's law is the longer a conversation goes on the internet, the likelihood that either Hitler or the Holocaust will be brought up approaches 100%.
Is this a real documented study or like?
No, well, it's supposed to be tongue-in-cheek. Like, it's supposed to be like, because I think if you've ever been on the internet, I think you'd agree that that's kind of a thing that you'd expect. So it's supposed to be imitating a natural law and sort of calling attention to this thing that, like, why do we talk about Hitler and the Holocaust so much on the damn internet?
I would love if somebody studied this, like, extensively and made it a real law. Like a scientific
that would
law.
be great. I think that if you did enough content analysis on the internet, you'd probably be able to say with pretty good certainty that this is the case. But yeah, I guess going back to the movie, my impression from you guys so far is that you're not super enthusiastic about it.
I'm more or less like before I wasn't at all. Like for me, there was just no hope because it's like, oh, it's live action. It's Sonic the Hedgehog. You know, the last time Sonic the Hedgehog tried doing something that was remotely live action or real world, we got Sonic 06. We all know how that ended up. But you know, the more I hear about this, like this movie was supposed to come out this year, but then it got pushed back to 2018.
Right. Well.
And you know, then what the writer came out and said that we'd be pleasantly surprised. You know, it's. The more information I hear about it, the more cautiously optimistic I get, but I'm still not holding my breath for it.
Right. And you feel kind of the same way, KingK?
I think a Sonic movie can do well because I've never been vehemently against the idea of a Sonic movie. Like, I know a lot of people are just against the concept of a movie in general for anything because of the Mario movie a long time ago, which I still have never watched. I've never seen that, but apparently it's bad.
Don't.
But don't forget about the Resident Evil movies.
I feel like they can do it well. I've never seen Smurfs, actually. I've seen Alvin and the Chipmunks, though. I'm a little bit scared that it's from Sony, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the exact same thing. And like you said, we're going to be pleasantly surprised, supposedly. The one concern that I do have that I can never shake is how are they going to do Eggman? Because that's really scary.
Yeah,
Danny DeVito.
No, he's going to be
the answer for everything.
He's going to be too busy voicing the Detective Pikachu.
Nobody works so well. Just think about it. He's short, he's fat, he's got the hair, he can pull off like the mustache if he really wanted to.
I did not capture a bunch of animals in Vietnam to be treated like this.
Yeah, I mean it'd be better than thoughts. Like probably anything else they could pick if they were to do a live action Eggman. Which
what I might expect is maybe they'll go the Sonic X route. Have it be like Sonic, Tails, the furries, the anthropomorphics, and Eggman are all from their own universe, and they somehow end up in the real world.
But that's the easy. That's what everyone is expecting. If they were to make a Sonic movie, I'd want them to do something that we haven't seen before, and something that we don't expect. Because I think that's another. Because that's what happened with the Smurfs too. Like the Smurfs were in their own little place, but then
and that's
now
what
we're in
happened
New York
with
City.
Enchanted. If you guys have ever seen that film,
I've seen Enchanted. Yeah, I remember that.
I just think it's
was okay.
I just think it's kind of like a lame plot point.
Well, I guess I'm just gonna. I don't want to be like the super negative, pessimistic guy of the bunch, but I think that if they are really, really careful and have some very talented writers, I don't see this panning out. I don't see this working.
I do have a little bit of information that might put you guys at ease. From what I've read, the people who were behind the animations and the CGI cutscenes for Sonic Unleashed, they're going to be doing the animations for this movie.
Oh, hell yeah.
They're behind the CG.
I mean, I have no doubt that the animation will look fine because that's kind of something you'd expect from a decently budgeted movie nowadays. I'm just more thinking about. Because, I think I feel exactly the same. I feel exactly the same way Ryan does about this. I think we've learned from Shadow and 06 that trying to make Sonic serious, because it's going to be a PG-13 movie, so they're going to try to. Because it's basically a similar sort of thing to like the E10 and up rating that Shadow got. Where it's just like, oh, we want it to be kind of edgy for the kids, but we don't want to make it so edgy that they can't go see it.
But the Avengers is rated PG-13, and a lot of the Marvel movies are rated PG-13. But they still find a good tone, and it's like you can be like I think Sonic the Hedgehog. That's a good point. I think Sonic the Hedgehog can be serious, just not 100% of the time. Right. I think Sonic can be dark as long as it's not slapping you in the face with this dark tones.
Right.
Like as long you gotta be subtle.
So something
about it.
more like SA2 then.
SA2 wasn't really dark though.
It was more intense.
The end. And even then, it was in the end, it was.
What I mean is, like, for the most part,
then it was like a giant
goofy.
lizard, and then you have a bunch of butt rock playing in the background, like, and then it's like, how am I supposed to take this seriously?
Well, I mean, apparently some people
I personally,
I took it seriously when I was younger, but
when I was younger, I was like, oh, it's a lizard. I don't know what I'm smoking here, but
I guess what I'm saying then is like. Go ahead.
Oh, see, my thing is, I think that they should have not made it CGI and live action. I think they should have done something like the Sonic Boom TV show. Because, I mean...
See, I do understand that, because I think that as well. But I'm also thinking
agree with that, too.
I'm also thinking about how that would be from, like, a monetary standpoint. Like, could they pull that off as well as, like, Pixar does, or DreamWorks, sometimes DreamWorks?
I think if these are the same people who made the Unleashed CG scenes, I mean, like that was like 2008. It still looks good.
I would definitely have faith in them, but
it's almost 10 years old and it still looks breathtaking.
Yeah, so I have I mean, like I totally agree with you, Haedox and King. This really should have just been a CG movie. There's
so
no need to bring the
that.
real world into this. I think the games have taught us that, that's not... I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I am going to say I am very dubious on that point. Very doubtful on that point that they can make it work.
See, now, I think having Sonic, like, in live action, it can work in two ways. One of which is if, I brought this up in one of my videos, I don't remember which one it was, but like if they did kind of like a Who Framed Roger Rabbit kind of thing, that had Sonic the Hedgehog in it, where it's just like goofy, just tongue-in-cheek fun, sure, that can work, provided the humor is well-written, well-written and all that jazz. But another way how I can see it working is if they kind of do like what they did with the most recent Battlefront game, where they have like these, like, live action environments that these CG characters interact with, as long as they just keep cities and stuff like that, and they keep it more like a nature kind of thing, I would be fine with that. But just keep like real people far away from this if you're going to take it like seriously, like if you're going to aim for that PG-13 rating.
I don't think many live action animated things work. I mean, I saw the Smurfs and the Smurfs 2, and those both sucked. And then, what was the other one? Alvin and the Chipmunks. Every single movie in that franchise is complete ass. So, like, I can't think of a recent CGI animated, like, a rodent. Hedgehog's a rodent? Yes, it is. Yeah. Animated rodents being good with other humans. I can't think of any instances.
Then again, with the cases of like the Smurfs and Alvin and the Chipmunks, it's also it's not really a case of like bad animation or anything like that. It's more bad writing.
Yeah.
And bad dialogue and lousy humor. So
yeah, and that's kind of my most, because like, can they tell a good story, or at least a semi-decent one, that features Sonic interacting with humans, that also tries to make it kind of realistic by having real humans presumably in it? And I don't see that panning out very well.
And like I said, for me, like, it can work out as long as they go like full tongue-in-cheek with it, like
yeah, if they do. But the thing is that the PG-13 rating suggests to me that that's not what they're gonna do.
Or maybe it's kind of a stretch, but also something like Guardians of the Galaxy. We got a CGI raccoon and a CGI walking tree. Yeah. So,
well, I mean, Marvel, that studio knows how to make good joke movies, I guess, or comedy movies, I guess you could call them. Because Deadpool was funny, Guardians of the Galaxy was good. They have a good team of writers.
I mean, technically Marvel didn't write Deadpool, but I know what you mean.
Yeah. That was 20th Century Fox.
Yeah.
Just to get all technical on you.
I think most of these, because it's sort of like how Disney owns Star Wars, they own Marvel as well. So all of these Marvel movies we've been seeing are technically Disney movies.
Yeah.
So, and they, it's kind of like one of the biggest studios on earth. So, yeah, you'll bet that they all have the resources to pump out some good films. And again, I'm not saying that this movie can't work. And some of the stuff Ryan has told me, maybe that will help. Maybe that will pan out. At the moment, though, I am not super convinced. And I feel, and you know what I feel is going to happen? What I fear is going to happen anyway, is that, because I don't know how all of you guys feel about Boom, but
the show or the games?
The Rise of Lyric in particular. Okay. But it's just that was just some spin-off thing that they did, just to sort of tie into the TV show, whatever.
I don't think it was as big as people made it out to be.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going with this.
I have no opinion on it, but...
Yeah. But... essentially, it's, the game is bad, and it shouldn't have been rushed, and I know for a fact it went through development hell, but point is, we got a crappy product in the end that wasn't, up to a good quality standard, and, rightfully, people didn't like it, but I think there was the reaction we got to it, because, I don't really find the game that offensive, but a lot of people are just wow, this is unequivocally the worst Sonic thing I've ever seen in my life. This franchise is dead. It's ruined forever. And I feel like what's going to happen, because if that's what happens with, just some spin-off game.
What can happen with the movie?
I feel like this movie might have a similar effect.
Yeah.
If it's not perfect.
I just don't know why they're making it in the first place.
Because it's fun to do.
I feel the same way. I don't know why they're making this.
It's because it's fun to do, it's Sonic has always been fun to hate on, so, and also, if you hate on Sonic the Hedgehog, you're guaranteed 11 billion views on YouTube, so that can have something to do with it.
Well,
also, is Nintendo making a Mario movie?
I seem to remember you saying that in Nintendo Cast a year ago.
Are you talking about the thing that was leaked by Sony? That there was some Sony emails that was leaked, and then Sony was supposed to be making a CG Mario movie or something like that.
Yeah, I think it wasn't. Isn't that film supposed to be all CG, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, maybe.
Because again, I doubt. I'm sure that they could pump out a decent film, because something like Ratchet and Clank, because that's a movie that's coming out soon. Actually, I feel like that lends itself more. Because it was
Ratchet and Clank is always... Oh, sorry to interrupt.
It's been a fairly cinematic franchise from the beginning, and it's very character focused, and especially once we got to the Future series, it actually had some pretty interesting character drama in it too, regarding Ratchet and Clank's respective backstories. And so I feel like that can work.
Even before Ratchet and Clank had really great stories with Captain Quark and 2 especially. Wasn't that the one with the dictator guy, right? Am I not remembering this correctly?
You mean Chairman Drek?
That was the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was the first one.
I'm trying to think about... Yeah, that was the first one. But, I have more confidence that movie will be pretty good. Because, even looking at I think part of the problem is that we don't have a trailer for the Sonic movie yet, as far as I know, or even a teaser.
That would really help gauge how I would even feel, because right now I don't really care at all about this movie.
Yeah.
I'm not really excited or afraid.
Indifferent?
I'm just I don't really care until I know more about it.
Yeah, I'm pretty.
I feel that.
That's pretty much where I stand.
The thing is that when it comes to movies, tone is very, very important. It's important that you maintain a consistent tone. So you brought up Sonic Boom, but Rise of Lyric. I think that game, despite all the shit that it gets, I can't say anything because I haven't played it, but I have seen all the cutscenes and the story and everything like that. I'm saying if they can have that kind of tone and maybe even that kind of animation style, everything just kind of flows during the cutscene, then it should be fine. I think,
but
as
here's
weird
the
as it
thing,
sounds,
though,
go ahead.
People, because I know that even Haedox in his review, I don't know how much he agrees with that review anymore. Everybody seemed to not like the story in Boom and the tone and the way the way it was written and the way lines were delivered.
Oh, it was bad. I didn't like it.
I didn't know. I didn't find it that bad.
I thought it was
I
fine.
thought it was pretty okay. I don't know what.
I mean,
don't know. That's just me though.
All right, here's my thing. What I found just off-putting was, first of all, how cliche it was, how they're running, and then they get to a temple, and then, like, oh, Sonic's on the door. Oh, why? And then he's like, here's a hand, and then he puts it on it, and then they reawaken Lyric. Just, I don't know, it felt a bit forced, the whole intro setup.
But what I mean is, I'm not talking necessarily about the story or the story element of Sonic Boom. I'm talking about the way, or I'm talking about like its tone. How it's like it had like these, it had like darker elements to it. Whether or not that worked, that's a different story. But it also had plenty of comedy. So I'm thinking maybe like if they could find something with the tone of Rise of Lyric or even Sonic Unleashed, that's like my de facto Sonic game when it comes to story. Because I think that game's story is not perfect, but it's as good as it's the best one we've gotten.
I think it's a good
far.
compromise.
Yeah, if we can get something like that would work brilliantly. Like I think Sonic Unleashed Sonic Unleashed will benefit the most from a movie adaptation, in my opinion. Like if you want to agree with you there. Unleashed.
I would agree with you there. Although I would say in terms of like Sonic gameplay, I feel as if Generations had the better story. Just because of how, I liked how simple it was.
I
that's
do
the
not.
point.
Okay, I will defend. Not defend. I don't really need to defend Generations because everyone loves it. But I will love Generations for everything except its story, which I felt like they were incredibly lazy about. So I don't know.
It just kind of felt.
I mean,
it just felt like
I kind of liked how minimalistic it was, to be honest. I don't know. I replayed it the other day, and I was really digging how straightforward and lazy it was. It was like, all right, Eggman's being bad. There's a bad guy. Go stop him.
Well,
That's
spoiler alert for people who haven't played Generations.
A 5-year-old game at this. Oh my god, the game came out 5 years ago.
Oh wow.
Oh shit.
I mean, because like I feel kind of the same way. That I think one point that stuck with me was, I don't know if you guys have seen Johnny's review of that, but it felt like there were supposed to be more cutscenes for each level.
Definitely.
But that didn't end up happening because of time constraints. And again, what we got was fine. But I mean like, the story works for what it's trying to do. I can't really call it a bad story or say that it detracts from anything. It's just more like, compared to something like Colors or Lost World, it's there.
I just wish they'd do more. They had done more with it because they had a lot of potential to do a lot more with it. Instead, you just awaken certain characters and they're like, "Hey, I have one line of dialogue," and you never see them again. So
the jokes would have written themselves.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe something like Gamma's story. Man, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
They just had a whole movie about Gamma. I'd pay to go see it.
I would too.
I don't think they would ever do that, but it would be cool.
They should. I love Gamma. He's like my second favorite Sonic character.
Or next to Amy Rose, of course. Man, I can't see how she's portrayed. I hope she's like a hooker in New York that Sonic meets.
Hey there. You want to go for a spin dash?
Hey there, girls.
My name's Amy Rose.
Let's you at my Pico hammer.
That's code name for like she has an STD.
Oh my gosh.
Pico hammer.
Oh no.
We have to stray away from this before it gets ugly.
Yeah, I hope Sonic wears a bubble shield.
Oh no.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so is there anything else we feel needs to be said about the movie?
I hope it's good.
Yeah,
That's all I can really
same.
say. I hope it's good.
I hope
Sonic
it's good.
Unleashed is,
yeah. Sorry,
Sonic Unleashed is like the best
I don't
thing they
have
can
any
pull from it.
expectations at this point.
Yeah.
I just hope it's not bad so people don't have another thing to bitch about.
Oh, they're going to bitch about it anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
No matter how good it is, they're still going to complain.
Yeah,
People
but
like to bitch about anything.
It helps Sonic's legitimacy when the movie itself is, decent. and not actually bad, because that's what makes it so hard for people like me to tell people that no, Boom really isn't that insulting, because the game is pretty bad, so they can just sort of fall back on that, you know? I don't know. I feel like it's just another opportunity for people to shit on Sonic, and I hope that it's a decent enough movie that it's defendable for Sonic's sake. You know, because like I honestly really couldn't care less about the actual movie. I'm really more concerned about how people are going to react to it, especially non-fans who have nothing better to do than throw Sonic under the bus, you know?
Isn't that just telling of the situation of this fan base right now? That's the number one worry, is how people will react. It is. Yeah.
It's just what happens. People like to throw other things under the bus, I guess.
All right. Well, I think, unless if there's anything else you guys want to talk about, I think that will wrap up our first sort of discussion here. So I think we're going to break for a few minutes and give Haedox a chance to attend to some things, and then we will be right back with the discussion of what we would like to see in the 25th anniversary game. So we will see you guys in just a moment.
Woo! And we should play some like elevator music.
Sure, I can ask Eric to send me some stock music. I have a lovely poem for you fellows. This is Fire and Ice by Robert Frost. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if I had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffice. Greetings and welcome, gentles and ladiesmen, to the second part of this pilot episode of Unversed Cast. I'm ExoParadigmGamer.
I'm TheRyanSucksAtVideoGames. I'm Ryan.
I'm Haedox.
KingK. Sorry, Haedox. I have to interrupt you because I'm better. But
he is the
KingK.
king.
He's
the king.
Your Majesty.
We are not worthy.
Yeah, go ahead, Haedox.
I'm Haedox.
Well, that's jizz. So, in the first segment, we discussed what we thought about the upcoming 2018 Sonic motion picture. And in the second segment, we're going to be talking about 25th anniversary game, what we'd like to see, what we think about things so far. And yeah, should be pretty open-ended here. So, anyone like to
suck?
Yeah,
you like to get us started, King?
So, are we just like what we want it to be, or what we?
Yeah.
Okay.
What we want, what we expect.
Wait, before we begin, I want to say a little anecdote. I want Sonic to go back to its roots, and by roots I mean 1941, with our great Führer Hitler, as he promised us then that he'll make Sonic great again.
Ich bin ein Hedgehog.
Ethan, nein! I'm sorry,
Judas!
probably clip.
He knows what to do.
I did that at my high school the other day. I was at a basketball game and I was playing a game and somebody scored a 3-point and I was like, Nixon,
So
when they were cheering and I was like,
maybe it will help us to get started by just sort of talking about what we know so far. And that is because
Sonic Adventure 3 confirmed.
We'll get into that in a moment, but I just made
Sonic Adventure 3.
So far, what we know is, hold on. So we know that we're getting Fire and Ice this year, right? And
That's the real highlight.
And wasn't there supposed to be at least one other game, or even
Sonic
two?
and Mario at the Olympic Games.
Okay, so that's
the
another
other
one.
highlight.
There was that Reddit rumor, or not Reddit, excuse me. It was on 4chan where there was like some kind of Sega employee or ex-Sega employee. He pretty much came out and said, yeah, it's going to be Sonic Adventure 3, and there's also going to be a handheld game called Sonic Genesis Prologue or Origins of Chaos or something like that. And it's pretty much like it's about how the Chaos Emeralds came to be, or how they found the Chaos Emerald or something like that.
I don't know.
It sounds a bit fan fiction-y to me.
Yeah,
It does.
I'm not convinced from that.
But
I mean, just look at all this shit that people made up about Smash.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, oh yeah, it's this character's totally gonna be in there. No, just kidding.
Isaac is in Smash Brothers. Isaac is in there, I swear.
And I don't know, until I see something with an official Sega handle on it saying like, oh yeah, this is what we're doing. And that's kind of one thing that I've been very, frankly, just kind of annoyed by. It's just like, oh yeah, there's going to be a 25th anniversary game. All right, what is it? Well, we have nothing to say about that at this time. It's just like, they've been withholding it for so long, and it's just like, in the meanwhile, people just only compound rumor after rumor, and it's just like, and it just increases the odds that when they actually do announce whatever they announce, that people will get disappointed. And, you know, and it's just like, if it's usually Sonic games come out in November, isn't that about right? November, December?
Yeah,
they're
October.
mostly
that's
November.
usually when games try to come out for Christmas and all that.
So it's only like about 9 months away, and you know they got to do marketing campaign stuff in the meanwhile. So it's just like,
Well, wasn't Sonic Generations announced? Like, I know Sonic Generations was announced in 2011, but wasn't it announced in like March?
Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah,
we'll see
so-
something next month.
And
maybe.
also,
And on-
A Link Between Worlds was announced, like, wasn't it announced?
The same year.
Yeah. The same year it
Yeah.
came out in.
Mario 3D World. A lot of
Yeah.
Nintendo games
Kirby
recently have.
Triple Deluxe.
Yeah.
Detective Pikachu.
yeah.
But you know something though, like, I'm trying not to buy into the hype about Sonic Adventure 3, because I mean, if I had a gun to my head, it's like, what do you want in the next Sonic game? Like, Sonic Adventure 3. But like, there is a lot like of things that kind of hint to it. Because, like, there's that one music event that's happening in Japan called Sonic Adventure, where they play Sonic Adventure music live. And there was also the official Sonic Twitter tweeted at Aaron Hansen with a picture of Big the Cat that said 4/1/2016. Big the Cat, Sonic Adventure, hooba dooba. And there's also, they posted that picture of the album cover.
yeah.
Like there was like some kind of band that released an album, and their album was called Adventure. So there's been a lot of hints and winks and all that kind of stuff towards Sonic Adventure, possibly a Sonic Adventure 3. And it's doubtful, very doubtful. But I would love to see it happen, because I don't know if you know this, Sonic Adventure 2 are some of my favorite Sonic games ever made. I don't care what anyone says about them, but they just control so well, and I love the level design. And I know a lot of people hate the multiple playable characters, but I love the multiple playable
Ryan,
characters.
the radar is broken.
Well, yeah.
And the
it
mechs
is.
control so horribly, like you just can't
control
play them.
horribly.
And what about that awful music? I can't believe it.
Yeah,
shut your
it
whore
should all
mouth.
sound like a robot farting, like in the Genesis days.
Oh, whoa! Don't you diss the Genesis, boy.
If they get to call Sonic Adventure music butt rock, then I get to call it robot fart music.
But I don't call it. I don't call it those things. I love the music of Sonic Adventure. It's my Sonic Adventure.
I'm not
has like
saying
my
you
favorites.
do. I'm saying that other people call
okay.
it butt rock. You know.
Okay. Oh, I thought I'm like, no.
Ryan, for a moment, just saw his like, just got triggered. He was like, "Don't you dare say I don't like it."
Full disclaimer: I like the music from both the Genesis games and the Dreamcast era games. I'm just joking around. Don't get offended.
Triggered.
But
There's a lot of hints for Sonic Adventure 3, and if it happens, I would be happy, because that's the sequel I've always wanted to see besides Golden Sun 4. But yeah, I would love to see it happen.
Okay. I mean, just to go over what else we know, I think the official Sonic the Hedgehog Twitter also posted a picture of classic Sonic, modern Sonic, and the Sonic Boom Sonic sort of running together in front of Green Hill Zone. And like when they changed their avatar to like basically classic Sonic in a little silver ring with 25th anniversary on it, and it's supposed to be like, okay, we're starting to market this a little bit and trying to show some promo materials. And it's just like the first thing they showed was like Green Hill Zone from Sonic Generations, presumably, maybe. So there was some speculation that, Generations 2, that might be happening.
But there wouldn't be a lot of stuff to do in a Generations 2, because all that we had since the previous Generations game was Lost World, Sonic 4 Episode 2.
I don't think it would be that. I think it'd be because like they only used one stage from each game, and because like what I would expect if there was a Generations 2, not saying that that's gonna happen or that even that that's what's desirable, then they could just pick new zones from each game.
I wouldn't really mind a Generations 2.
Yeah,
I wouldn't either.
like that.
I think it'd be cool.
I would like them to do something a little bit different than another Generations.
I guess
personally.
I'm still butthurt that they didn't release any additional levels for Sonic Generations.
Oh my god! Why did they not do that?
That was the perfect opportunity.
It was gift wrapped for them.
It just pisses me off.
You could play pinball in Casino Night Zone. That's nice and all, but
You got the Casino Night Zone in the 3DS version of Sonic
They had a
Generations,
lot of cool stage DLCs for Sonic Generations. I'd be like, Generations 2 might be a bit too much, but at this point, they wasted so much potential, I'd be okay with it.
Perhaps that's why they didn't include those stage DLC packs.
It could be. Maybe.
Yeah, that's interesting. So
That's always a possibility, but I don't know. I want them to see. I want them to do something a little different.
Right.
But that's just me. I'll take anything though. I just want the game to be good.
Yeah, it's definitely not my top priority. I just think it would be okay if they did it.
Yeah. I'm not. So is that pretty much all the factoids we know so far about the 25th anniversary at this time?
Yeah.
Anything else to share?
Nothing.
I mean,
else is.
there's Fire and Ice that's coming out that looks okay. There's that Mario and Sonic Olympic thing, which I have no opinion on because I don't care about those spin-offs.
Right.
Hey, you watch your mouth, sir. Those are
tell me
good
how
games.
to live my life. You're not my real mom.
Sure. All right. So I guess from here, we can just sort of go into what we would prefer to see. I guess. I think Ryan's pretty much summed up his thoughts. Sonic Adventure 3.
That's what I would like, but honestly, like if they wanted to make another boost game, or if they wanted to expand upon what Lost World laid out, or another 2D game, I'll take it.
See,
like I said, I just want the game to be good.
Yeah.
I think this is what they should do. They should make a Generations 2, but this time they have the boost formula, classic gameplay, and the adventure gameplay all in one sort of package. Say if they had like a hub world kind of like the adventure gameplay. I'm not saying that it has to be as convoluted as the adventure games were, but it could be like straightforward level selection, and then there's like a Chow Garden you can interact with and stuff like that.
Generations 1 kind of had a hub world.
Yeah, but not like a 3D hub world, what I mean.
It was more of an interactive level select screen.
Yeah. And honestly, I didn't like that. I
thought it was okay.
I preferred Sonic Colors' world map.
Oh yeah,
Is it just like, I need to go, select this mission from, I don't know, Crisis City. It was just like, you got to do a bunch of platforming just to get to the room to go to the level. And it's just like, why can't I just pick the mission?
It was the same thing when you had to fight, like Metal Sonic, Shadow, and Silver.
Yeah.
Which,
it wasn't bad.
Thing.
It's just more like...
Oh, go ahead.
It wasn't bad. It's just more like, would I prefer to just have a straightforward selection screen? Yeah.
Or if there was an option to just have like a basic selection screen, that would have worked too.
Yeah.
But I would honestly like to see Shadow and Silver come back and like in a main story role or as playable characters.
Okay.
That's not Sonic Runners.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the issue there is that they kind of have some story baggage that they carry with them that's kind of hard to integrate,
I mean, you could always overlook it. Just have them be characters. Not bring up their past.
Yeah, but then are they really Shadow and Silver?
I really want them to bring Shadow back, but this is the situation I'm in now because they changed the voice cast. Every time I hear Shadow's voice, I cringe, and it scares me if they ever bring him back. Because I watched the Boom episode with him in it, and it didn't exactly sell me, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I think the voice is fine. It's just the direction he's given is too like. Over the top.
I feel like he's trying way too hard to be edgy or like dark.
And you know what the thing is that Kirk Thornton is actually a really good voice actor. He also does Orbot.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys have played Tales of the Abyss, but he was Jay Curtis in that game.
I love that game.
He's a great voice actor, but he is not a good Shadow. in my opinion. He was also Cliff in Sonic Boom, and he did great in that too, I thought. Shadow is just not someone he should have been casted for. I don't know.
I think he sounds okay, but I'll take the original voice actor for
David Humphries.
from Sonic Adventure 2. Yeah, I'll take David Humphrey or even Jason Griffith.
Yeah, I would.
I think
too.
Jason Griffith was a pretty decent
Shadow. I don't have
Shadow.
a problem with Jason Griffith. I know a lot of people do, but I think he was fine.
I think it was a fine
David
Sonic
Humphrey,
and Shadow.
but I think Jason Griffith was fine.
Same here.
Yeah. So, who was talking? I think it was Haedox was talking about
The Generations 2 with classic, modern, and adventure.
Is that? Do you have anything else to say about that?
Yeah, I can see them, if that was a thing, I could see them taking sort of environments from all of the games, perhaps. Maybe from... They could bring, like, Chaos Angel from Advance 3 back.
That'd be so cool.
That's a good stage. I like that one.
A weird thing, though, with the 3DS version of the
it's just like
Generations, is that there was no, like, Advance 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah.
Or even... Well, no, there was a Rush level, but nothing from Rush Adventure.
I heard that
strange.
game was entered development kind of at the last minute, and then they just sort of half-assed it. It's kind of...
And it's a decent game, but it's like, if missed potential could be formed in a video game, personified into a video game, it would be Generations 3D.
Yeah. Okay. So, KingK, I don't think we've heard from you. What would you like to see in a 25th anniversary Sonic game?
It's really hard to pinpoint exactly what I would want, because at this point I don't even care what they do with them. Because on the one hand, okay, I love Adventure 2 more than most people do. And that's just, I don't know why. I guess I'm nostalgia blind to it. I just love everything about it. I can't, like, there are probably faults in it, but I don't care about them.
I think my review was pretty explicit that it's not just nostalgia, that it's just more like people have taken to exaggerating its faults because they want Adventure 1 to look better.
But my review is the best one out there. It's the best.
I'm not saying that.
You're just jealous.
You know, I'm just more saying that it's easier for people to just repeat what other big YouTubers have already said about the game. It's hard to challenge them because they are so big and so persuasive just based on their ethos, you know?
They're so persuasive, but they don't persuade you of anything.
Well, they don't persuade some people.
Bad.
Yeah.
It's more like they persuade the people who want to hear Adventure 2 get... Because, like, I said this in my recent editorial, but it's basically what I think happened is when the game originally came out, people preferred Adventure 1. When Battle came out, you know, the opinions sort of swapped over, and a bunch of people liked Adventure 2 more. And it was uncool to like Adventure 1 more because that was more generic, quote unquote. But then what happened was around 2012, when the digital version came out, reviewers started to sort of swap things back in the other direction because Adventure 1 feels more like a classic series game. And Adventure 2 took a lot more risks and tried to be something different. And, you know, it's bad because it does that. And then essentially, you know, people still have this idea in their heads that most Sonic fans think that that's like a goat-worthy Sonic game. And, you know, I don't necessarily feel that way about the game anymore. I don't think anybody does anymore. I just think it's a really good game, and I think that for reasons that matter to me, I'd prefer to play that over the first game. And a lot of people, you know, seem to think it's this sort of zero-sum game, or only SA1 gets to be good, or only SA2 gets to be good. It has to be some kind of competition.
Though. Like, from what I've seen, it's like, I've seen a lot of reviews that bash Sonic Adventure 2, but I've seen a lot of Let's Plays that bash Sonic Adventure 1. So really, it's like, it's not even what...
glitch. Go.
I'm just more talking about within the community of people who actually kind of like Sonic, at least some of his games, you know.
But it seems like as if both games get just...
They both get flat.
They get
Absolutely.
shit that they don't deserve, pretty much.
And
it's like, I don't know.
My love for Adventure 2 sort of just... It shifts me to believe that I would want an Adventure 3. But... What?
What was that, KingK?
Yeah, say that again, please.
I was just going to say, it sort of shifts me in the direction that I want an Adventure 3. I just don't know if they will do it, is the thing. Plus, it's not really something I can get behind readily. That I'm like, if they don't make Adventure 3, I'll hate them, because the boost formula is good, even if it has had several games already. But I don't think that's a problem per se. And I will defend the Lost World formula, because I think that game's decent. And a lot of people give it too much shit, but that's another issue. But the issues with Sonic Lost World, I didn't feel like were with the gameplay style. I just felt like it was a bunch of other stuff that I didn't like about it, but I still think it was decent, and they could make that formula work very well.
Right.
So really, I feel like they can go. Yeah, I feel like they can go any way with this, and I'd be okay with it. But I think Adventure 3 would just be so surreal to see come out. So.
But the adventure games, for better or for worse, they have been getting a lot of attention, and in marketing, any attention is good attention. So I don't know. Maybe that'll tell them it's like, hey, Sonic Adventure 3 could be a thing.
Well,
maybe.
However, if Adventure 3 did come out, and let's say by some strange coincidence it was bad, then I think that would be worse for Sonic's reputation.
I mean, that already happened with Sonic 06, but even then, that game isn't
Well,
Sonic
I mean, they
Adventure
didn't
3.
market it as Sonic Adventure 3, though.
Well, but let's be honest, that game is Sonic Adventure 3.
It's no. Sonic 06 is a Chinese bootleg of a Sonic Adventure game.
I'm not saying that it's as good as the other two. I'm saying that in terms of the storytelling style, I'm saying in terms of the way they structure hub worlds, the way bosses work, the way it controls, it's Sonic Adventure.
Well, and I wouldn't say in terms of way how it controls, but
I just mean the idea of how it controls, not necessarily that it's as good. I wouldn't agree with that. But it's I guess where I come from here is like I personally like KingK. I'm a little more agnostic. I don't mind what they do as long as it's good. That seems to be the consensus I'm hearing here, is that we may have particular wants. What we care about most is that the game is finished, that it is functional, that it's good, and that people can't just hate on it because it's a little bit glitchy, But the thing is with Adventure 3 is I guess one of the things I've really discovered, or really started to understand since I started reviewing them recently, and thankfully I'm not done with that, so I can move on with my life.
But let's just give them a quick round of applause.
Yeah, well, you guys don't have to do that.
Hey, well, if I'm being completely honest, dude, it's like, while I disagree with you on a lot of stuff about the Sonic Adventure games, they were still they were still some of the best reviews of Sonic Adventure I have seen. So
yeah, they were the best reviews I've ever seen. Ever.
They were very good. Like you and Nick made some of the most on point reviews, where it's just like I was watching and I was just nodding my head and it was like, yep, that is completely. I wouldn't say it's completely true, but it's like I see where you guys are coming from and it makes sense.
I'll get around to them, and then I'll shit all over them, and I'll start this cycle all over again.
Well, yeah, I guess what I'm discovering is that it's not so much that people dislike the adventure games because they're badly designed or because they're glitchy or whatever. It's more that they're just not a fan of the gameplay style, subjectively. And it's easy for them to do that because we live in a gaming community, a gaming culture that gives more credence to people who talk about the classics like it's the only good gameplay style, or that it's unequivocally the best one, at least. I'm not saying everybody feels that way. I'm not saying that everybody who likes the classics the most thinks the same way. I'm saying that those games have this sort of otherworldly reputation, and that everything would be better off if they just went back to the way things were in 1994. And I think that's very apparent in the way people treat Sonic Adventure, because that's where this sort of experimentation of gameplay style started. And then you have that sort of generational difference where, people who grew up in the 90s, the Genesis games more, people who grew up, closer to us, and the, early 2000s seem to like Adventure 1 more. So there's oh, you're just nostalgic, And really what's going on here is just I am not personally a fan of playing mech shooting. I'd rather it just be Sonic the whole time. I'd rather not do treasure hunting. The fact that these games have treasure hunting and mech shooting in it makes me not want to play it as much. It's what I'm trying to get at here is it's a personal thing. People don't, and that's fine. They don't want to play that gameplay style because it doesn't appeal to them. That's perfectly legitimate. And so what I'm thinking is like all these, I'm seeing a surprising number of people who want a Sonic Adventure 3 for one reason or another. And it's just like after, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years now of just sort of back and forth about, like all these games are terrible, or these games are great, what people don't seem to understand is that if we get a Sonic Adventure 3, it's not just going to be, the regular Sonic gameplay.
It's going to be the multiple playable characters.
Yeah, we're going to have a bigger focus on story. We're going to have treasure hunting. We're going to have mech shooting. We're going to have who knows what else, who knows what they could do with it. And it's just like after, nitpicking the stuffing out of SA1 and SA2 for years, it's just a strange irony to hear the same people who are doing this to come out and say like, oh yeah, I hope they make Adventure 3.
See, but I think, like, I could see Adventure 3 working in a way where it's like, you're playing through a regular stage of Sonic, but then you come across, a part in the level where it has 3 different paths, right? And one path you can go as Tails, one path you go as Knuckles, and the other path that you go as Sonic. And then, it doesn't really affect the story, it just affects, your experience in the level. And it's like you can play this one level as Sonic and then you can go back to it and play it as Tails, but like you don't absolutely have to. It's just like an option. Kind of like how it was in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, where it's like you can play as either Sonic, Tails, or Knuckles and have like a different...
So you'd want Sonic Adventure 3 to be more kind of like a hybrid between 3 and Knuckles and Sonic Adventure gameplay style. Like they all go through the same levels, but depending on what play style you choose, the way you advance through that level is different.
Right.
And the goals are different.
Pretty much. But like let's just say like Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, like they go through the entire story together, or you unlock them along the way and then you can swap between them like in between levels. Ideally, like I wouldn't mind if we had it like Sonic Adventure 1 or 2 where it's like, the characters have like their own campaigns. I wouldn't mind that, but for the sake of the fandom and for the sake of Sonic's overall appearance, I guess I can say, it would be smarter to integrate the multiple playable characters that way. Like you unlock them as you go, but you can go back to those stages and have a completely different experience.
So what you're saying here is like, ideally, you'd just like to see them stick to the formula the way it was in either the first or second game, but you're willing to make compromises to make it more accessible to people.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. What do you think?
My ideal Sonic, though, is like the Sonic that controls in Sonic Adventure 2 with the Sonic Adventure 1 level design where everything just felt wider and more like a world, I guess, with the Sonic Adventure 1 spin dash. Like, you give me that, it's just like the best controlling Sonic I have ever played. I would love that.
I think it would help if they put like the somersault and the kick on a separate button. Then we can have
I could do without the somersault, honestly. But
I think it adds a little bit more to the level design. But if we put them on separate buttons, then you can have your Sonic Adventure 1 spin dash still.
Very true. Very true. I will agree with that. And the bounce bracelet thing, like that would be cool too.
What do Haedox and KingK think here?
KingK.
Yeah,
you guys still here?
First.
That's pretty much my thoughts. I don't want to just pair it off of you, but I've always wanted them to sort of do the whole like these characters, not necessarily they control exactly the same, but that they all feel similar enough that you can play an entire campaign as them or switch between them or whatever. It'd certainly be a lot better than what they do in Heroes, even though those are different characters, quote unquote. It'd be a lot better than what they did there, where they just had 4 different campaigns with the same level themes.
Yeah.
And
let's not make, if Heroes 2 ever happens, let's not do that again.
Yeah.
Let's just make it so, like, you either need to diversify the teams more, or you just need to make it so that you only have to play one to get to the final boss. But that's Heroes. Let's not get sidetracked here.
Yeah, I do like that's another point that I didn't even know was going to get brought up, but I do like the Adventure 1 spin dash more. So I would like to see that back. It's kind of a nitpicky thing, but it was really fun to just spam that button and like rocket across levels.
It was easier to spin dash jump. Yeah.
And I do agree that if you have all the Adventure 2 stuff just on a separate button, it would please everyone, and there's really no reason that you shouldn't have it there, even though I probably wouldn't use it a whole lot. I don't know why you would. I'm like a firm believer that if you have the most options, then you're good. Why would you ever take away options? Because it doesn't make any sense.
Mega Man 9.
I wouldn't know. I haven't played it.
Basically, they took away the slide.
That
For
doesn't
no
make
reason,
that
just
doesn't
to
make
make it more
sense.
just to make it more like Mega Man 2, because that's the best one, which I think is pretty debatable. But you know, it would
It's
be
the
like
only one I've ever played.
it would be like if they made a new Metroid game. It's just like, you know what, we want to make this game more like the original. Let's get rid of the map. Let's get a multi-directional shooting because that's the retro way. God damn it!
And let's make them start with 30 health.
Yeah, let's do that.
'Cause
it's just like
that's
it's stupid
fun.
logic, but you know. So I guess. So that's pretty much. I guess the only thing about that is if we're gonna make it more like Sonic 3 Knuckles, and that. I think what makes the playstyles distinct in the Sonic Adventure formula is that, you know, while most of them are just about getting to the end, the goals change in interesting ways. Like with sometimes, I don't know, it feels like the gameplay styles in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, it was all just based around different kinds of platforming, essentially. Like Knuckles couldn't punch. His thing was that he could glide and climb on walls, and that made it so they could go to certain places. But what makes him distinct in Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 is that he's exploring these larger levels and trying to find MacGuffins using the tools that's given to him. And that's kind of a little different. And then when Tails in Sonic Adventure 1, you're racing someone, and then that's way different than just going through a level, you know? And Amy, you're trying to evade this robot that's pathetic at catching you. You know, it's all these different things. And so, like, that's kind of part of what makes Sonic Adventure, is that these gameplay styles just don't feel like slight tweaks of each other. They feel like
But they're completely
their own
different.
games, kind of.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we do this hybrid thing, that it's not really a Sonic Adventure 3 in that sense. You know?
I mean, in that case,
It would be
I would rather them just make a new game. Like that's another possibility we really haven't touched on much. Just like they could just do an entirely new thing.
Yeah.
If they really wanted to, and I'd probably
As
be
long
okay
as it
with
looks like fun, I would be okay with it.
Yeah.
It's just, I would love it if, because, like, in my opinion, Sonic controls the best in the Sonic Adventure games, and there's still a lot of potential there. And I would like to see them go back and just kind of
Refine
try
that.
it again, refine it, make it better.
Yeah.
But it's like what you were saying though, Michael. It's like they have like different playstyles and you know how it would work. It's like if they didn't even want to call it Sonic Adventure 3, they don't have to, as long as it controls like Sonic Adventure. That's really what I care about.
Okay, and I feel like that's kind of the impression I get a lot from a lot of people who want Adventure 3, is that they don't necessarily want the multiple playstyles and all the other stuff that comes with it. They just want that control scheme back.
I mean, which I would like the multiple playable characters to come back, but I can live without
Right.
much.
And we kind of sort of got that with Lost World. I mean, it controls way differently, but it felt more like an adventure game.
You could spin dash jump again, which is more than what I could say for like Colors or Generations or Unleashed, and that made me very happy to do. Just spin dash jumping all over the place. That was fun. So that's why that's one of the reasons why I love Sonic Lost World, because you can spin dash jump again.
Right. So I think if we're done kind of talking about Adventure 3, I have, you know, unless if there's anything else you guys want to say about that.
Well,
I mean,
it's the Messiah, so.
all the points have been pretty much hit on the head, but something maybe else worth mentioning is how Sonic Advance 3 did the gameplay. Like
Oh yeah.
how you could change characters at any time and it'd change up the gameplay and you could find different paths and all that. I feel like that's good level design that maybe Sonic Adventure 3 would do well with.
Okay. Well, didn't they kind of they didn't. I was gonna say Sonic 4 Episode 2 sort of did that. But
no,
it was more like Tails and Sonic did combined attacks than it was like you swap between them. But I don't know.
It's not really the same as Advance 3.
It isn't. Yeah, which is why I was kind of hesitant to draw that comparison. But yeah, that's an interesting idea. Okay, so we've talked about the possibility of a Generations 2. We've talked about the possibility of an Adventure 3. I think another thing that might happen is that we could possibly see a refinement of Lost World's gameplay.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I would love that. Like, if I can't get my Sonic Adventure 3 or my Sonic Adventure playing like game, then I would have said, you know, refine Lost World. Just tweak it, make it better, because, oh my, like, that is the next best thing, in my opinion. I don't know if I'll get hate for this, for saying this, but it's like, the boost is actually my least favorite Sonic gameplay style. I mean, it's not that it's bad, I like it, but it's just, when compared to Sonic Adventure and Sonic Lost World, it doesn't feel as satisfying.
And that's something that I think Nick would agree with you on. Just in case you guys don't know, Nick on Aquamagna, really cool Sonic tuber that you should all check out. Like, essentially, his argument seems to be that, yeah, Boost is more stable and has less room for error and glitches and whatnot, but you're given less control over the character, and it's like with that extra control comes more responsibility, but it also allows you to be more in tune with what the character does, and it becomes more satisfying for that.
With me, though, it's that, like, I'm one of those weird people whose favorite classic Sonic game is the original Sonic the Hedgehog. Like, I like Sonic 1 more than Sonic 3 and Knuckles, because Sonic has weight to him. You know, Sonic has weight in the first Sonic game, he has weight in Sonic Adventure, and he has weight in Sonic Lost World. And what makes those games so satisfying to me anyways is that, you know, with the other games, you can go fast and not even try as hard. But with those three games that I mentioned earlier, it doesn't really feel like the game is about speed, but it's about fluidity. And keeping that flow and that sense of progression is what makes it satisfying. To me, anyways. It's more about how the game flows and how smooth it feels and how everything just kind of clicks, as opposed to it being about going fast. And that's what the boost feels like. It feels more about speed than it is about fluidity.
I mean, I could kind of see that.
Yeah, that's just my view.
Right. I do think that a new sort of Sonic Lost, because like the big thing I think that was wrong with Sonic Lost World, and I mean, like, I really enjoy the game personally. Like, I feel like it, again, like with Sonic Adventure, people weren't like ready. People are so like entrenched in other gameplay styles that, you know, trying to learn how to play this new game, they just weren't willing to do it. You know, there was that sort of subjective blockage there. But one thing that they really need to refine if they're going to go that route is just the control.
Yeah.
The problem, and I think Clement actually summed it up really well, is this: that when Sonic jumps forward, he has a lot of momentum to the way he moves. It's not like the classics where like you can where he kind of has some momentum, but you can still kind of steer yourself backwards if you want to. With Lost World, it feels like you have to use the double jump constantly to keep reorienting yourself in the way you want to go. Sonic has...
Yeah.
He doesn't...
I mean, I found that like I didn't find that much of a problem in the 3D sections.
2D sections.
But I really, because of the way he controls when he jumps, I really hate when you go 2D. Like the 2D sections, they're fine in concept. Like I'm okay with them being there. It's just he controls so awkwardly sometimes when he goes like on ceilings and curves around and you're trying to jump and it gets so awkward and I hated it. So that would be good if they could refine that.
I didn't have much of a problem in the 2D sections. For me, I would say I wouldn't say the biggest problem, but the thing that I wouldn't be upset to see go would be the tube-like level design.
Yeah.
Because if you played the Zelda DLC stage for Sonic Lost World and you're in this huge environment, it's like, I want the next Sonic Lost, or the next Sonic game, if it had the Lost World formula anyways, to have this kind of level design. Just wide open, go wherever you go.
The control, because like
it does.
The one thing I will say also about Lost World that it was kind of weird is that I always found myself just constantly using the spin dash and nothing else and just blasting through everything. And I feel like with the gameplay style, I don't know, if in an open, like a more open environment, like if they were going to roll with this whole Lost World gameplay style, that's fine. But I feel like they need to
change the way levels are designed.
So that I'm not constantly using the spin dash just to get to the end of the level. And because then the tube level design, I didn't really feel like it was anything extraordinary. I just sort of spin dash down a straight line. Sometimes I would go around the tube, but it wouldn't really matter where I ended up. I wasn't going out of my way to explore some other thing or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't think the tube level design was bad. It's just I would much rather have it's just the wide open thing is much better.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. What do you think, Haedox?
Well, I mean, it's not my first choice, Sonic Lost World 2, of course, but I think if they did it right, it would be okay.
Okay.
I mean, there's another thing.
Sentiments.
Not to interrupt you, Haedox. I don't know if you had more to say about it.
It's okay.
There's another. This is really minor, and I'm sure they could definitely make this better because they did it with Advance 2. I thought the level themes got boring after a while because they're standard, and that doesn't bother me. That doesn't like ruin the game for me like it does a shit ton of people. But I want them to make like a music park or techno base because I'm like those things are cool. And
I would agree.
Like that's one of the reasons why I prefer Sonic more than Mario is that, and I don't mean to get this like Sonic versus Mario rant, but I always felt as if Sonic had the more interesting level designs as opposed to Mario, where for the most part, that's the key phrase here is that with Mario you're going through a grassy plain, and then you're going through a desert, and then you're going through a beach, and then a nice place, then a mountain, blah 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 blah. But with Sonic, you go through Green Hill, but then you go through like ruins, and then you're in a disco party, and then you're in cyberspace, and you're going through all this other there's a lot more, in my opinion, there's more creativity in that, and I would like to see that was one of my biggest disappointments with Lost World is that it went through those basic tropes.
I would agree.
I think it played it a bit too safe. I think it could use more.
I think part of it might have been that it was. I think Nintendo had something to do with that game's development, so maybe they were just like, "Oh no, you got to Mario-fy this a little bit."
I did feel like okay, this is like a Sonic game that Nintendo would make.
In Lost World?
Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of like some of its aesthetics.
Like level themes is what he means. It's just like, oh, you got the volcano world and the sky world and the ice world and the forest world and the
But even then with something like Lost World, it's like they you go through the desert ruins, which is my personal favorite zone in the game. The first level is the desert theme, but then when you go to the second stage, it's desert ruins, and it's like, oh, that's a cheeky little pun, and you're going through this place with like Twizzlers and donuts and cookies and all that stuff. It's like, okay, yeah, that's the Sonic creativity that I'm looking for. So it's definitely there, but it's just not enough.
Yeah. I would agree. I mean, that's actually one of the reasons why Colors is my favorite one. I just love all the zones in that game.
I love all the level themes so much.
The only one I don't really care for is Planet Wisp. But
yeah, that's probably my least favorite one too.
Same with me. I have no idea why they chose that for I know they didn't.
Yeah, that was like the word. Why didn't they pick Asteroid Coaster?
That's my favorite level. Asteroid Coaster is my favorite level. I love it so much.
For me, it's Sweet Mountain. I love Sweet Mountain.
I just mean that Asteroid Coaster would have been a better, final level in the game.
Yeah,
that's true.
Definitely.
They would have had more opportunity to make it the most challenging level out of all of them. Whereas it's, Planet Wisp, it's in the middle of the game, and there's not really that many stage hazards that makes it really, harder or anything. I don't know, nitpick. But
I just feel like I would have taken any other level than, like Asteroid Coaster. I don't know what I'm just saying. Asteroid Coaster. It would have been an ideal choice. That's my top pick. But I would have just taken anything other than Planet Wisp because I feel like Planet Wisp has good music, and then it's just
not even. I don't care for the Planet Wisp.
I like the music.
Honestly.
It's not my favorite song in the game. That goes to Asteroid Coaster, which I am like. I don't know why I'm so biased toward that level. I just love it so much. But I don't know. I think Yeah, I think they just should have picked something else.
Yeah, it's like, you think they would have done Asteroid Coaster because, like, that's kind of like a trope with Sonic, is that he's always going into space, but there's only, like, one boss fight where he's in space.
Yeah.
In Generations.
Put him
there's
in
no,
space
like, actual
again.
level.
He was really cool in
put
space.
Sonic in
I love
space.
the space levels in most Sonic games. I mean, I guess Sonic Colors is just almost always in space, so...
Technically.
Yeah.
The only one I don't really care for is Death Egg Zone and Sonic 3 Knuckles. I don't like that zone.
Yep.
But
so what I'm hearing so far is, like, we'd be open to the idea of a Lost World 2 if they tweaked the controls and made the level design more open and made sure that the level themes were a little more interesting and unique.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question for you. What do you want to see this on? Do you want to see it on, like, the PC, Xbox One, PS4?
The thing about is that I don't own any of those platforms. Because, like, honestly... And it's like, part of it's just that I'm a Nintendo fanboy. I like Sony a lot, but they're no Nintendo to me.
Yeah.
And it's just like, nothing on the PS4 has been like, oh god, I've got to buy this $500 gaming machine.
Ratchet and Clank, Bloodborne,
The thing is I'm not into Dark Souls, and I like Ratchet and Clank a lot, but it's just like, I'm not going to buy a $400 console just to play a remake of the first game, you know? There's gotta be more.
It's not a remake. I won't make that until the dying sun, because I bought a PS4 for Ratchet and Clank.
I bought a Wii U for Wind Waker HD.
Yeah.
I bought a Wii U because I thought I don't know, so far
you
I'm
thought
very
there'd be
satisfied
actual
with
games
the Wii U
on
library.
it. Boy, were you wrong.
There are games on it now, and I mean, like, I'm going to be getting my Star Fox Zero and my Zelda later. I would have liked a Metroid, because that was, like, what I was really excited about, like, HD Metroid. Oh my gosh, not going to happen, because, I don't know, for some reason they're making a new console. I don't know, but...
Well, what about, would you like to see the new Sonic game on the Nintendo NX?
But then I'd have to buy an NX, you see, and it's just like...
Well, here's the thing. If they wanted to make the new Sonic game multi-platform, then that cost quite a bit of money. If they wanted to make it for the PS4 and Xbox One and Wii U, then they'd have to spend money developing the PS4, Xbox One, PC version, then downgrading the Wii U version, and then maybe making a Vita and 3DS version too.
I don't think they would make a Vita version because like nobody uses
I just
Vita
hope
anymore.
it comes out on PC because that's where I have almost every Sonic game that I own. So
mods, so many mods.
as soon as Lost World came out on Steam, I just bought it. Even though I already own it, I was like, I am buying it again. Fuck it.
I would have bought it too.
I just want to show them that keep releasing Sonic on PC, please, because I will buy all of them.
Yeah.
I literally own every Sonic game on Steam. I'm not even joking.
I mean, I would personally, like, I am a diehard Nintendo fan. I mean, I think that goes without question, but personally, I think it would be best if they released the new Sonic game on like the Xbox One, PS4, or PC, because it's more powerful than the Wii U, so there's, in theory, there's more they can do with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but just tell me how many 1080p 60 games we got on the Xbox One and PS4.
Yeah.
All of them.
There's Splatoon.
He has
That's all, right? Oh wait, no, that's Nintendo. Shit.
Like, it seems to me like most of them are like 900p 60 or something like that, which is still better than 720p 60, but it's just like, I don't know. I don't see it. I mean, like, I'm sure that in terms of technical specs, if I were to look at the Xbox One and PS4 and actually understood how the tech specs worked, I might be impressed. But so far, it just feels like an Xbox 360 2 and a PlayStation 3 2.
Well, I have an Xbox One and a 360. I mean, there is a difference, especially in terms of like graphical quality. Like, I can I have Dragon Age Origins on the PS3, for example, and that game is laggy and it's buggy as all hell. And for me, I find it hard to play. But I have Dragon Age Inquisition on the Xbox One, and I can actually play it. Like, it lags here and there, and there are a couple of glitches, but like the game never crashes on me like how it does on the PS3. I could say the same thing for Skyrim. Like, I can't play Skyrim on my 360 because it runs like shit. But, you know, I can play Western RPGs. Optimization. That is true.
It's like Western saying RPGs, that, you know, Arkham Knight can't work on the PC because they did a shitty job porting it, you know? It's just like you design games based on the tech that's going to play it, you know?
Exactly.
And it's just, so it's just like these tech specs don't matter if they're not like making the games the way that the tech was meant to handle them, you know?
Right. But like I said, I'm just like saying from like my experience, like I always had a hard time playing Western RPGs on like my PS3 and 360, but from what I played so far on my Xbox One, I have like very little issue with it. So, I mean, it's like a performance comparison, I guess.
I mean, like, all I'm saying here is that until I see some really groundbreaking IPs that make me feel like, okay, this console is worth investing in, I'm still not convinced, like, several years later, that I need to get a PS4 right now. Because $400 is a lot of money, you know? And I could be spending that on a 3DS capture card. I could be spending it on relatively rare games that for consoles that I already do own. But it's just, I'm not convinced that I should invest that money in a console that has like maybe 3 games I want to play, which all cost $60 a piece, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that I think that pretty much covers everything. Unless you guys have more to say.
Haedox, KingK, anything?
Not really. We pretty much covered everything.
You know,
we just want it to be good.
You know, make a good game. Don't rush it.
Bring back the characters because I actually like them, even though a lot of people don't. Bring back some of them at least. Like,
bring back Knuckles and Tails.
Yeah.
How about that? That's a good compromise.
I would honestly rather see Shadow and Silver.
Like, don't cram everyone, like every single Sonic character into the game. Just bring back some of them because I miss some of them. And it seems like they're hesitating because everyone's like, "Oh, Sonic and his stupid friends," and I'm just, I hate whenever that line is used in anything.
Sonic and his stupid friend.
But that's my only real final comment.
I would like to see that too. I mean,
same here.
Just
if I could go back to the Sonic Adventure 3 rumor that was on 4chan, it was said that you know, Sonic was in it and he played like how he did. Tails played like how he did in Sonic Adventure 1, but he had like some kind of ray gun, so it's kind of also like Sonic Adventure 2 Tails, so it's like a mixture of both. Knuckles played like how he did in Sonic Adventure 1. Shadow was in it, and it was a bit more like combat focused, but he didn't say like
we're getting
how
back
much
to Sonic 06.
Yeah, whatever. But yeah, Silver was in it, but he played a lot like Sonic, but he can lift stuff up with his mind, and Styx from Sonic Boom was in it.
That sounds really disjointed, jeez.
Yeah, it's just like, we're gonna bring this character from the side universe and put it in our main game.
Well, the Sonic Runners does that too. Styx isn't there, and the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games is doing it now.
All right.
I think Styx is like the face of Sonic Boom right now.
And she's voiced by Cree Summer, who is also Medusa in Kid Icarus Uprising.
Oh,
yeah.
That's some range, man.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys ever watched Danny Phantom, but she was also Valerie in that show.
Yeah, I watched that show religiously.
But I don't know any of the characters.
So I know I know almost everything about that show. I've probably forgotten some things though over the years, but I used to know everything about that show.
Yeah.
But about Sonic,
I'm gonna start calling you Dan Phantom now, KingK.
No.
I'm just kidding.
Let's do it.
I'm just kidding.
I'm just
messing with you.
No.
How about no?
But about Sonic though, as long as Sonic Team is behind the wheel, I have the utmost confidence that it will be, at the very least, a decent game. Because the games that we've been getting from them since like 2010, they range from
since Sonic Unleashed, with the exception
some would
of
say
Black
Sonic
Knight.
Unleashed, but for me it still had the Werehog, and I wasn't a fan of like the level design of the boost gameplay. So, but I definitely see why people say Unleashed. It's just, I say 2010. That's just my thing.
I think Unleashed was just the point where they started not giving a shit, but I'm sure they gave a shit about 06. It just bad things happened. But I mean, they're in their they were going back to their stride, quote unquote. Like, you could tell they put a lot of passion and a lot of it worked in Unleashed. Because everything in that game functions. Like, it's not like 06 mess, nothing works.
Yeah.
It's just that people aren't a fan of the Werehog. I mean, I don't blame them, but...
Right.
But they've proven themselves that they can make good games. You know, for me, that proving point was 2010 with Sonic. I mean, Sonic 4 was dimps, but I still think that was like a decent game. You know, we still got Sonic Colors, we still got Generations, and, you know, say what you will about Lost World, it doesn't play like how I wanted it to, whatever. It still was a perfectly functional game. You know, they took their time with it, they put a lot of effort into it, they polished it up. It was still a perfectly playable game. So they can make perfectly playable games.
Yeah.
And so I'm
and Boom was
like
a different
100%.
studio, so I hate when people bring that up. I really hate that.
And it was a licensed spin-off game. Okay. Sonic Team has nothing to do with that.
You know what's weird about that is that I always get people saying like, "Oh no, Shadow doesn't count because that's a Shadow game. It's a spin-off. It doesn't count.
I don't
it can't
think
be the worst one."
I don't think you can get away with that.
But
I see
Sonic
the
Boom
argument.
can't have that same excuse, even though, you know, that's technically a Sonic Boom game. You know, it's.
Well, I'm just saying because Sonic Team didn't develop it, so I'm saying that I think they're still like good.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, the fact that it happens not good, but you know, Sonic Team still. I feel like they still not necessarily know what they're doing, but they're not producing stuff that doesn't work. So.
Yeah, because if you think about it, the last console game that we've gotten from Sonic Team was Sonic Lost World. You know, we got that Sonic Runners game on the mobile phone, and, you know, it's alright for what it is. I like it. But, you know, it's been 3 years, almost 3 years, since we've gotten anything on a console from Sonic Team. You know, so that's... I can't imagine that making a mobile game took up so many resources. You know what I mean? So they had all this time to work on something, and I think it's going to pay off.
There's the hope.
Yep.
I'm very optimistic about it. So.
I'm not going to be optimistic. I'm going to be hopeful because I think because I thought Sonic Boom wasn't going to be that bad, but, you know, obviously I was wrong to some extent. I mean, like, after that, I'm not going to be absolutist and say like, oh, there's no chance this could possibly be bad. But I think that given Sonic Team's recent track record, I think that given the fact that, like Ryan said, they've been developing this for a while, so it's not something they pumped out overnight, like with 06, you know. I have some confidence, I have some hopefulness that this game will be decent. Whatever it is.
Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric 2, The Electric Boogaloo.
Oh, God. All right, so I think that pretty much ends our podcast here. So why don't we go from Haedox to Ryan to KingK. Where can people find you, and what do you do?
You can find me at youtube.com/PewDiePie. I make cool Let's Plays. No, you can find me at youtube.com/c/Haedox, and I make reviews. Really shitty ones, though, so beware.
Nah, he makes good reviews. Don't listen to him.
Right.
Alright.
Ryan?
Alright, you can find me at TheRyanSucksAtVideoGames on YouTube.
But he doesn't actually suck at video games.
I kind of do. I'm not that great, but... you know, I mostly try to make videos about GameCube because, you know, the GameCube is my favorite console ever made. And I also try to look at bad games every now and then in a more positive manner. And I do live streams every now and then. I'm live streaming Golden Sun every now and then. So if that sounds like it's your thing, then you might want to check it out.
Yep, go check him out, folks. He really is like incredibly underrated, and just like KingK, if you would share your
that transition.
Yeah, dude. Like you only I saw how many subscribers. You only have like 140. It's like what the hell? I thought you had way more.
I mean, talk about
after releasing that Demon's Souls review, I have 175 all of a sudden. I don't even know how, but
hey,
and you deserve them, dude. That was a very good video.
So yeah, thanks. My channel, it's KingK in name, but the handle is still Kingdom Clanad, which is with 2 Ks. It's a weird spelling, but I don't know how to change that handle into KingK. My username is KingK right now, so you can find me there. I make sometimes overly analytical videos about video games where I go all philosophical on them. I've recently made the Demon's Souls review. I'm gonna make that a sort of retrospective thing where I just discuss the series as a whole, broken up into 4 parts through which represent each game. And I'm just gonna have a fun time with those. Hopefully people don't give me too much shit as I move on to Dark Souls, which is the fan favorite, but that's my next big project. And then I'm planning on doing Firewatch because I beat that game, but that's another thing.
Yay!
That's what I do. I review games like a pleb. But, you know, I do it.
So, yeah, absolutely go check out Ryan and KingK because they are very underrated YouTubers who do some great stuff.
Thank you.
And I'm just glad that I have the chance to work with them, as well as my good old Bay Haedox here. And yeah, go check him out as well. But absolutely. But odds are, if you're subscribed to me, you're probably subscribed to Haedox. So definitely go check out Ryan and KingK because they could use the attention. But yeah, so
well, thank you. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, it was fun times.
All right. Well, you know what they say. Have a good day.
Oh, toast is toast. Thank you for joining us for this pilot episode of Unversed Cast. Eventually, it's going to have its own channel and everything, but, So stay tuned for more. We're excited about this project, and we hope to see you guys next time. So, bye.
Bye.